So here we are today, which is October the 12th, 13th, 2018, and we're in between War
Trace and Bell Buckle.
War Trace and Bell Buckle. Your name again, ma'am?
Connie Smith.
Connie Smith is fixing to tell us a story about some Civil War stuff that occurred during that time right here in this area. So the person that I was wanting you to talk to, her name was Bobby Sue. She's 82 years old, and she has about 100 acres still at Lynchburg, right beside Jack Daniel. But she had a nephew or an aunt, and her father-in-law come from over here in this area.
Okay.
She remembers coming up here as a little girl before she moved to Nashville, Tennessee. But you're telling me that there was a great battle here.
Yes, there was over 3,000 troops. June the 24th, 25th, 26th, 1863, came from Stones River on the way to Chattanooga. They came, which is now Interstate 24, but actually it was just, land. They came 231. They marched right through here. Patrick Claiborne stayed in War Trace. Parson Brownlow's was housed up there. Pauline Cushman was housed up there in the Chocolate Tavern, which is still in War Trace.
Right.
The 11th Illinois, 17th Tennessee Confederate. I can't remember all of the units that were here, but it was a 3-day skirmish. Whitworth sharpshooters first saw action, which is on Highway 269, going outside of Bell Buckle.
Right.
There's camps all up and down through here. Anywhere between Murfreesboro and Chattanooga, you're going to run into a camp somewhere.
Right.
And it was, nobody knows about it because it wasn't a big battle. It was just a skirmish, but there was over 3,000 troops here.
Some of the cemeteries has Civil War remnants in the cemeteries. Do you know of any cemeteries around here that has pertaining to the Revolutionary War?
There are some, but I'm not sure which ones. I want to say when you go back out this way.
Yes, ma'am.
Salem Cemetery on the right-hand side.
Right.
I think they have some there.
You think they have some there?
That's the oldest cemetery around here, so I think there's some there.
What county is this?
Bedford County.
Bedford County? Which is right next to?
Coffee County, Rutherford County, Moore County, and Lincoln County.
Ah.
So we're kind of right in the center.
Right in the center here. You're not too far from Duck River, neither, are you?
No, Duck River's just 10 minutes that way.
Right.
Shelbyville's, or Shelbyville, as we pronounce it, is 10 minutes that way, whatever that way is.
Right. Do you know anything about the haunted house that they featured last night on national news?
The hotel?
Yeah.
No comment.
Please talk to me.
No comment.
I was told that it was a young girl that fell off the top balcony.
Oh, she did.
That fell to her death.
Yeah.
Is there any more other occurrences that you know of that could have possibly caused that place to have become haunted? Because it looks like it's had a refacial done to it. In other words, the original building was probably built in the 1800s.
No, it's built in the early 1900s.
Early 1900s. Do you know any of the background?
Not a lot of it, but I know when some people owned it 30-something years ago, it was a beautiful hotel.
Was it really?
It's been sold several times.
Has it?
Yes, and I've been in it several times.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's got the old rickety floors and got the smell to it, and the whole.
It's got all of that, but now that this guy is remodeling it and demolished the inside of it,
right,
it breaks my heart.
Because he's taken away a lot of the original nostalgia out of it.
He's taking everything out of it.
Yeah, the original nostalgia.
Yeah, he's taking everything out of it.
You know, I'm kin to Jesse James.
Cool.
And I was told that the Jesse James gang, him and his brother, not the gang, they stayed in the New Johnsonville area for about 2.5 years, but they ventured all the way up towards Nashville, and they robbed a place somewhere in Nashville that once a year they have a big ceremony up here somewhere. I didn't realize that the Jesse James and his brother Frank got this far.
Oh, yeah.
Got this far east.
They were in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
They were.
Mm-hmm. I've got, well, he's passed away now, but I know a gentleman that had a picture of all of them that one of his ancestors handed down to him.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they were in this area. Yeah,
Wow.
there was quite a few people in this area.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It sure was. Do they have an account of how many soldiers actually perished during that skirmish that was in this area?
Probably so. Dr. Bradley from Motlow College did a book, The Tullahoma Campaign. And he has maps of where everybody was camped, what unit, where they come from, all of that. But I'm out of stock on them right now. And I don't remember how many died, how many stayed.
Are you familiar with the old Waverly campaign over in Waverly, Tennessee?
Some of it, not a lot.
That was basically the last hoorah
Yeah.
for the Confederate soldiers before they wound up surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
It was talk throughout my life, with me being raised up in Tennessee all of my life, that the reason why that the South lost was because they run out of bullets and they run out of money. What's your opinion about that, if you don't mind sharing it with me?
The reason we lost is because Nathan Bedford Forrest, Patrick Claiborne, and Joe Johnston wasn't in charge. Had they been in charge, we'd won. So, we didn't have good leaders in the Confederate. It's my opinion, but
it's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
Right.
I mean, Lee was good.
Right.
But Lee was for Virginia and the Carolinas.
You familiar with Sherman?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He was ruthless, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. So was Braxton Bragg.
They burnt Atlanta plumb down to the ground, didn't they?
Yep.
They killed all those boys down there at Chattanooga, on Chattanooga Hill, too, didn't they?
Braxton Bragg was the best general the Union Army had. And he was on the Confederate side. But he had 7 generals killed at Franklin.
He did.
Well, I mean, he didn't do it on purpose, but, Patrick Claiborne and all of them at the Carrington House.
Right.
So, yeah, he was in charge of them.
So you do know a lot about the history, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I'm from the area, born and raised right here.
Like I said, Miss Bobby Sue, she was born over in the Lynchburg area,
Mm-hmm.
and she moved at the age of 18. Fortunately, moved to Nashville, become secretary working for an outfit. I don't know, I forgot the name of the outfit, but she wound up buying a little house here and a little house there right off of Charlotte. I think now she owns like 15 homes. She's got rental property.
Yeah.
That, she's got almost 100 acres right beside
Mm-hmm.
Jack Daniel's distillery that people has offered her humongous amounts of money for, and she just turns it down.
Good. Good for her.
She don't need it.
Well, it ain't that. I get tired of seeing people take historical landmarks and old houses and tear them down and do nothing with them.
I do too.
Or put parking lots, or put a subway, or
I do too.
quit destroying our history.
Right. Right. And we should admire our history and look at our history as a teaching tool.
Mm-hmm.
But we shouldn't be so asphyxiated upon to the history that we can't venture off into the future.
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. I've got
Sure.
to grab that.
And I'm going to go ahead and document your store, if you don't mind, a little bit.
Okay.
She has a little bit of everything in here. Cups, books. She knows a great deal about historical matters. These coats are like $200 a piece. This one is full of embroidery, and I'm sure it's higher. It's $245. But you can order these and get the original buttons. And like I said, it smells just like leather in here. Old hats, beautiful old hats, original looking duplicated boots. Now the clothing wear over here, is this part of the northern side right here? Do you sell any of the northern stuff here?
The blue.
The blue right here?
The gray, and this is called jean cloth.
That's called jean cloth.
This is Army of Tennessee.
It is.
Some of this is Army of Tennessee, but it's more Virginia.
I got you.
Because we have the Virginia, the Richmond style 1, 2, and 3, Richmond Depot.
I got you.
These are Army of Tennessee. They're Columbus Depot, Atlanta Depot, Mobile Depot. They're more for like Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas.
You probably got some of the original 7th Infantry stuff here.
I got reproduction.
Yeah, reproduction. Yeah. Where would that be at?
That on the count on that would be some down this way, but this is all Union on this.
This is all Union over here?
Yep. You got the New York State jacket.
Do you sell a lot of the Union?
Yes, sir.
Do you really?
Somebody's got to be a Yankee.
Ha!
But we got sack coats.
I was born up north. Don't cut us too deep now.
Well, no.
Raised in the South, but born in the North. We can't help where we was born at, right?
Well, yeah. Some people born here and move up there, and then they lose their map how to get back home.
That's right.
But these are infantry frock coats.
Beautiful. And they sell for an average of around, what, $250?
$169. They start at $169, go up.
$169?
I think $189, maybe $199 is the highest on them.
I see.
And then these are artillery shell jackets.
This is their line of defense. These was the guys that was putting their lives at stake.
And then I've got the cavalry.
Aye.
Shell jacket. And then we've got what we call the roundabout, but it's just a Union shell jacket.
I see.
And then if you wanted to get really fancy, the officers. This is what Grant wore.
Ah.
This is what Sherman wore.
The buttons and all that. Yes. They're all in line, the same configuration
same
and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Of course, you don't have none of the stars and bars and the.
We do those if they order them. We'll sew them on.
What did you call them all ago? Chicken. Chicken.
Well,
you call them chicken something.
Chicken guts.
Chicken guts.
But the Union didn't do braid.
They didn't.
Only Confederate.
Really?
Now, when you get to Custer, that war, he did braid. But Union Army did not do braid. They just did shoulder boards.
Wonder why?
Well.
Was there some kind of reasoning in behind that?
Well, common sense.
Was it like going to war against the redcoats that they could see them better?
There you go. If you're out on the field and you see this,
right,
you're going to shoot at that person.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, the Confederate officers took this off. They did. It's a target.
Right. They claim that's one of the reasons why that we won the Revolutionary War was because of the color of what the soldiers was wearing.
You could see it.
Right.
Yep.
Which makes a lot of sense in a line of defense. But I noticed you had a lot of books over there, and you got a lot of books over here. Is that one of the original flags?
No, sir. That's just one that we had made, and I need to have this out, but we don't have a stand for it. But there's some original stuff in there. And it's not that we're covering it up. I've got no stand for it, but I've got an original musket, original canteens.
You sure do.
We just have it covered up so the light don't damage the pictures.
And that flag, where did it come from, as far as what it actually represents?
That's Polk's Corps. Leonidas Polk from Columbia, that's his company flag. And it's a reproduction.
That's a reproduction. You do have original stuff in here, but most of your original stuff you don't want to sell, do you?
No, sir. It's our little museum piece.
Sure.
My husband's been collecting since he was 16. And like I said, we've been doing this for 27 years this year.
What do you think the most imperative, crucial thing that you have in here that you would dedicate as it being the most significant?
Never thought about it, really.
You haven't never prioritized it?
Really?
I would go with this. I would go with this plaque right here.
I say other than me.
Other than you, I understand. But I would go with this plaque right here. This original CSA headstone plaque. Because to find something like that, and like I told you originally, it did have, I guess it would be, it had coloring in the middle of it, right there in the center. I honor their courage in what they done during the time that they done it. But by me being a spectator, looking back 150 years broadsided like a spectator would look at any type of event, I don't honor what they was fighting supposedly against or for. They was fighting to defeat the Union. Wow. Because the Union wanted to have control of not just the North, but also the South.
The Union wanted to tell the Southern people what to do.
That's right.
States' rights.
That's right. And I don't think...
And they're still doing it today.
Well, sure they are, to some extent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be...
But it's not just about the North and the South anymore. It's about your conglomerates. It's about who's got the deepest pockets. Who you know, this little town just north of here, what's it called? The little town right up here.
Murfreesboro?
No.
Bell Buckle?
Bell Buckle. I was told that they turned down a dollar store. Because they do not want no predominant, deep pocket industry coming into their town that would ruin the characteristics of their town.
Basically, yeah. They didn't want the change. They want to keep Bell Buckle like it is, a quaint little village.
Right.
Yeah.
And change has always been a fighting factor. You know, there was lives that got taken whenever they built the C&O Canal, whenever they built the railroad. Because the C&O Canal was a way of life for a lot of people up in the mountains, up in Virginia and West Virginia and places like that. And of course there was lives that got taken over straining up barbed wire towards keeping cows in certain areas. So anytime there's change, there's going to be a struggle.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be a fight. I really and truly don't think that the Civil War here in the United States, personally, I don't think that it was primarily over slavery. I think that slavery got thrown into it after about 3 years into the Civil War, after Lincoln realized that not only was people watching what was going on right here stateside, but the Queen of England and kings and other predominant figures throughout the world was paying close attention to this. And I think it wasn't until Lincoln stepped out onto his, whatever you want to call it, every day, and looked and seen at the foothills of all the dead, that was the carnage that was there. He had to come up with some sort of an excuse. Why in the world are y'all doing this? And that's whenever the aspect of freeing the black man come into play.
All but his. He freed them all but his. He kept his, or his wife's.
I think.
Which is not in the history books, but he kept all but his. I mean, freed all but his. He kept his wife's.
I know.
Yeah. And that many Southerners didn't have that many slaves. Yes, they were slaves, but they were not as many mistreated as the history books want to tell you.
There was a whole lot more Northern slaves than there was Southern slaves because they had more money.
And who brought them over here?
The North did.
A black man.
Oh yeah,
Africa.
the black retaliated against their own race.
And brought them over here.
They sure did.
You know, but
They sold their own people out.
But, you know, you're brought up by history books. And history books are written by who... It's like you wrote a book, you want me to believe every word of it.
Well, it's what perspective that you're wanting to look at it as. Because, what is it? Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Mm-hmm. One man's loss is another man's gain.
Yep.
And to tell the story about the American Civil War and not be biased on one side or the other is almost next to impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really is.
Yep. It is.
I personally believe that the Civil War began because of all the territories that was being colonized out west. That it began up at the White House, beginning with a big argument, basically going from the White House to the church house, to the church house, to the schoolhouse, to the schoolhouse, all the way down to the outhouse, that whenever they couldn't figure out how to conduct themselves in an orderly fashion towards doing things in a decent form, that's whenever the indecent form come out of mankind, and that's whenever it went from a knockdown, drag out to an all out and out bloodshed.
It's kind of like it's doing today.
You know, we're following the same characteristics.
Like we're doing today.
We're following the same trail. We really are, if we're not smart enough to identify what's happening to us over here. We really are.
They're trying to remove history, and I don't mean just North people are trying to remove our history. Both sides, really. I mean, of course, they got rid of the Confederate statues, but they're getting rid of other statues now that has nothing to do with the Confederacy.
Right.
They've taken God out of school. They've taken the flag out of school. Trying to take both of them out of the church.
Right.
You know, so.
I think that the president that we have right now, Donald Trump, he's trying to put all that back in order again. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to succeed in the 2 terms that I feel like that he'll win over to the people, I don't know. But he's really and truly trying. Mm-hmm. I think that he has our interest at heart towards being fair-minded to both sides, don't you?
Yeah. We've had one other good president since I've been alive, or since I've been old enough to know, and that was Ronald Reagan.
Right.
And now Trump's doing things I don't like. You know,
he's doing things that we do like.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I voted for him, and I'll vote for him again. But he's doing things I wish he wouldn't do. One of them is being on Twitter. Get off. You know.
But he's doing things that we do like.
Oh, yeah. But
so you got to, you know, he's not perfect, and you got to take the bad with the good.
And he's not apologized for anything that he's done. And that's another thing. There's no men in the White House anymore.
I was taught as growing up as a young lad that a good man can make a mistake, but it takes a better one to admit it.
Yes.
We don't hear people admitting to any of their mistakes no more. It's like society has reached a pinnacle point that, hey, it's not my fault, it's yours. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to pass the buck to somebody else. Yep. And this is a very, very dangerous, crucial state that we're in right now, because we could very well have a reoccurrence of what happened in the Civil War.
I look for it any day.
I don't look... you look forward or forward to it?
For it. It's going to happen.
You think so?
I don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to happen.
I was always taught that too. And I was always taught that it was going to be another civil war against the blacks and the whites. I was always taught that, no, it ain't going to be against the blacks and the whites. It's going to be against the rich and the poor. Is it possible that we could have a civil war against the male and the female? Have you seen what's been going on in the past 3 weeks pertaining to Judge Kavanaugh and the doctor and everything that's been going on up there in the White House?
No, I try to stay away from the news. I don't watch the news anymore. I know a little bit about it, but it's just like, no.
It's been depressing.
There's more things important than that.
Whenever the Bush administration, the Bush Senior, whenever they wound up taking this man right here and executing him in a cruel, undignified way by hanging him, I think that was one of the mistakes that the American government made, because believe it or not, Saddam Hussein, as rootless as he was still managing some sort of order over there in that area. He was a rootless dictator.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, it takes rootless means to control a rootless group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they took him out, it created a vacuum. And now, all of a sudden, all these terrorists, regardless of what name you want to title them as, has come out of the woodwork and taken that whole region over there.
Yeah. But you don't hear a lot about that anymore.
I don't know. Donald Trump brought it up quite a bit whenever he was running for presidency, pertaining to the vacuum that got created over there.
Yeah, but now you hear more about, like I said, the senator that just was accused of something. I don't listen to the news. I try not to watch any of it. I try not to read it. It's going to happen. I can't stop it. I can't do nothing about it.
No, we can't. We can't stop it. But
they're arguing
But
about
I think it is good. I think it is good though to talk about it, and to debate it, and idolize it, or deter it one way or the other, because it gives us different perspectives upon where they was and where we are and where we need to be and where we don't want to go.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt I'm like you. The perfect storm is brewing again, towards a major calamity happening right here in America. And I pray to God that it don't happen.
Yep.
Because if it does, it'll be probably 1,000 times worse than what the Civil War was. Because during the Civil War, everybody was poor. They were still getting around on horses or walking. Most of them only had one-shot muzzle loaders, musket loaders.
Yep.
Today, the average home has 4 or 5 cars. The average home probably has 15 or 20 weapons in it. And the people that's done drugs, it's messed up their minds.
Yep.
You think the Civil War was bad during the Civil War?
Well, see, when they started this, the senator, that they just, I can't pronounce his last name. When all of that started, the woman accusing him, my first thought is something else is fixing to happen. They're having us concentrate all on
Dr.
that.
Ford.
Concentrate all on that.
It was a diversion, wasn't it?
There's something else fixing to happen.
It was a diversion, wasn't it?
Yeah. Something else going to happen.
You know what it was a diversion from? Think about it. A week before that, they had figured out that somebody in the senior office of President Trump had contacted the New York Times and was basically an act of treason for somebody that was working shoulder to shoulder with the President of the United States, and basically throwed him under the bus the way that they did. And rather than it turn into a complete fiasco, I think that's the reason why Dr. Ford and all of a sudden that other got brought up. I'm like you. I think it was a diversion.
Yeah, there's something.
I think it was a diversion.
It always is.
Because why would you spend 3 weeks, probably $20, $30 million, because somebody's got to pay all those anchormen, somebody's got to pay all those news people of doing all that. Why would you have spent all that money and all that time just to do a full circle and come back to ground zero? And it's like, well, we already knew that he was a good man. Let's go ahead and put him up in the Supreme Court. Why would you have spent all that energy, all that time, and all that money?
And why did she wait so long to come forward and talk about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't watch the news. I'm just staying in my little corner.
I think something did happen to her. I do think something happened to her, but I think her story was so full of holes that she couldn't make a defining moment of who it was, where it was, and when it was. And that's what blowed her. That's what blowed her testimony. I think something probably did happen to her.
I don't. I think she made it all up.
Really? It's possible.
I mean, and that's from a woman's perspective.
I understand.
Don't think it did. She didn't act like it did.
There at first she did. Her testimony whenever she first come out was very convincing.
We can act real good.
Women are better actors than men.
We can act like we care.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I never believed it. She waited too long. If something had happened to her, she would have done it right then.
You know what I was afraid of? that it was going to start a deluge,
Yeah.
a floodgate.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, you'd have had women coming out of the woodwork
There were
everywhere,
several.
pertaining to judges and senators and congressmen and anybody in high-ranking positions,
There
that
were
they'd have been
several.
coming out of the woodwork from everywhere.
Well, a guy that I went to school with from 1st grade to 12th grade, which I graduated in 1974.
That fly likes you.
Yeah, he sent me a message the other day and said if he touched me inappropriately, he apologizes. I said, all right, Jimmy, 1st grade, we held hands. There you go. I'm going to sue you, you know. But nah, I never believed her. I didn't listen to any of the testimonies. I never read anything about it, but it was her look.
Right,
Like I say, she waited so long
right,
for something to have happened to her to come out.
right.
Yeah. So, I got to get to work. What time is it?
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to put you on my YouTube channel if you don't mind.
No, I'd rather you not.
Please.
I'd rather
Please,
you not.
please, please.
No, no,
Let me
don't.
put you on my YouTube channel because it'll help to advertise your store here towards where you're at.
No, please don't.
Why?
Don't want it. I know. Nope, don't do it. Please don't.
Be good
I've
advertising.
enjoyed. I don't need the advertisement. I've enjoyed talking with you, but I do not. I have had TV people call me up and say, "Let's do a reality show. Let's come follow you." No.
Well,
I
you
don't.
got so much insight though about the haunted house and about the Civil War,
Don't.
and just like you're being opinionated about the different factors that's going on today.
And it's my
with-
opinion only.
Right.
I do not want it out there. So please don't. I've enjoyed talking with you, and for your friend, that's fine, but do not put that on YouTube. I have a Facebook page.
Do you?
My Blockade Runner does. My friends don't know that I own Blockade Runner.
That you'll what?
That I own Blockade Runner. My friends on my Facebook page don't know that I associate myself with Blockade Runner. I do not want. No. This is my company. This is my person. There's two different things there.
I got you. You wear many hats then. We
I
all
deal
do.
with a lot of people.
We all do. We all do. And I can respect that.
And if you put that out there and some of my customers see it, and then they start saying, well, you said this wrong, you did this wrong, my business has gone to hell.
Your
So,
people now are so opinionated to where if you say the wrong thing, even though your intentions was totally something different, they'll hold it against you.
so please do not put that on your YouTube.
Especially if you are a business person out in the eyes of the general public. How much longer do you feel like that you'll be working here until doomsday?
It's what I do for a living. It's my job.
Right?
It's my personal. It's it's me. I get up every morning and I come to work. Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
You're welcome.
And it was very intriguing of the history that you knew about what went on in the past.
Well, thank you. I've learned a lot over the last 27 years. I didn't know everything. And I still don't know everything. But I've learned a lot. Yeah. Don't look at me like that. I do not watch YouTube. So I do not want me on YouTube.
What does this right here mean? The CS? Calvary?
Confederate States.
Confederate States?
Confederate State buckle.
Who made this book?
That's actually a journal from Virginia French from McMinnville, Tennessee. It's an original journal. Me and my husband transcribed it.
You did.
About 6 months to do it. But it's her words about the battle in McMinnville, when the battle was going on there. About how the Yankees come through and they were beautiful and nice and handsome and they fought the garden. It's her account of the war, not a soldier's account. But it's local history, and we just transcribed it. We didn't change anything in it. And that's her. And she has a house still in Beersheba Springs, or Beersheba, however you pronounce it.
Where's that at?
in between McMinnville and Montego Mountain.
Do you recognize me, ma'am?
No.
Thank you for the poster.
Who are you?
I'm a whistleblower.
Which is?
You know what a whistleblower is?
No.
I'm going to point this way. I was a part of history during Ronald Reagan's administration. And I had a group of people that retaliated against what had happened in my life, similar to what had happened in Moses' life, and similar of what had happened in other prominent prophets of God that has come forth. In other words, there was a conspiracy that was formed against me of a group of people that wanted to shove me off in a corner and keep me quiet. And they brought up all kinds of fake, phony accusations in Weakley County. I told you all ago that I was from Weakley County, up around the Reelfoot Lake, Union City, Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee area. You familiar with Eric Snowden?
No.
He's the guy that detected that there was a problem with Central Intelligence pertaining to how much technology that our government is using now against their own citizens.
Okay.
You didn't watch none of the Eric Snowden movies or books or nothing?
No.
Really?
No. I'm sorry, I'm backcountry. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And the wisdom and the knowledge that you have is so valuable that I hate to walk away and tell you that I'm not going to put this on my YouTube channel because
if you do,
because it is so essential to the generations below us.
You need to delete it right now.
It is so essential.
Delete it right now.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can, or I will have you sued. And I have you on video. Delete it. I thought I was talking to a nice person.
You was.
No, delete it.
I'm not. It's my phone, and you told me that I could record you.
But you didn't tell me you was going to put it on YouTube. So now who's telling stories?
What would I be recording it for?
For your friend. That's what you told me. Your 82-year-old friend. And you talk about the government? Here I am telling you things. I trusted you. I opened up to you, and you're going to do this to me? Oh my God. I can't believe this. You've just ruined my company. You've ruined me.
No, I haven't.
You put that on YouTube, and you will.
I can hang on to it for years.
You put that...
Until I know that you are
you won't.
no
you
longer...
won't. You'll go home and put it on YouTube. I can see it in your eyes.
Ma'am, I was all over the news.
I don't care.
Pertaining to the
I don't
Oklahoma...
know who you are. I don't know who you are.
I know
have
that.
no idea who you are.
I know that. And I
but
thank,
you have betrayed me.
And I thank you for you opening up to me.
You can leave that here. You've betrayed me.
You're not going to give this to me?
Are you going to delete that?
No, I'm not.
Then what do you think? I've sat here and opened up to you. And you're going to do this to me. And some...
You need to come out. You need to come out here and look at my car.
No. Now, listen to me. I'm not going to hurt.
Ma'am, you can't do that.
It's my store.
I don't care. You're becoming
please.
violent.
No.
You're becoming violent.
I accidentally hit it. Please delete it. I'm going to be. I'm sorry.
I want
sorry.
to get my phone.
You can get it. I'm sorry. Would you please delete it? I'm not going to hurt you. That just please delete it. I do apologize. Like I said, I enjoy talking with you, and I apologize for doing it. Please delete it.
You need to come look at my car. a good day.